Alrighty, welcome to Building a SpaceX Clone Session 9. Again, for those who are following along, I'm sorry, I've just been a little crazy lately. I moved and then I moved again. So anyway, we're going to continue with the front end design, and we will make that funky circular toggler button with vertical lines. We will style the footer form input, and then we will be working through some HTML CSS logic. Alright, let's get started.
Ground control to Major Tom.
8, 7, 6,
Commencing countdown, engines on.
3, 2,
Check ignition, and may God's love
Lift
be
off.
with you.
Alright, so as usual, open up your terminal and then cd into your projects directories. I cd into ROR projects / rockets corp. Okay, hit enter, and then I type Adam space dot to open up my text editor, and then I type Shift Control T to open up a new tab in my terminal. Alright, let's close the text editor. Okay, and here I type Rails space S to start the server. Alright, server is running. Open up your browser. I use Firefox, as you probably know. And then in the URL bar type localhost :3000 to take a look at the project. Okay, it's thinking. It's actually a little slow. There we go. Alright, so last time we did a bunch of front-end editing, and we're going to continue to do so. We're going to get rid of these borders around here and some other small little details. Okay, maybe Rocket CNET Corp needs to float to the right. Oh, to the right. Okay, but what we need to do, if you remember, when I demonstrated in the first session, I had that circular drop-down button with vertical lines. So we will do that, and then also in the mobile friendly, the search button will float to the left. Alright, so let's go to your text editor. I'm going to close this welcome here. And what we need first to open up is the navigation.scss in the style sheet in the assets folder. And here I'm moving things up so you can see better. So what we will start with, so we're going to make this round button, if you remember. So round, other people have it, but most people have horizontal lines. I will make vertical lines. So here type dot navbar dash toggler and curly brackets. Now let's go and open up the navigation partial in this shared folder underneath the views folder. Okay, so here we go. Here we have the button and all the classes we're going to modify and override the bootstrap default styling. So let's see what we need to do first. First, let's do border dash radius to make the curvature colon, and let's set that to 100 pixel. And let's make a border of 2 pixels solid, and let's just give it the color of white. Okay, save it and go to the browser and refresh. Okay, refreshing. Oh, a little mistake. Alright, if you look at the top line, it says app/assets/stylesheet/navigation.scss:57. It tells us that we have an error, actually not on line 57 but 56. We forgot a semicolon, or I forgot a semicolon. Back to the browser and refresh. Refreshing. There we go. Okay. So let's narrow it down here. Okay. Cool. So now I have some good circular radius in that square toggler button, but the border didn't show up, so we need to put in an @important in the SCSS here to override the bootstrap. Go to the browser and refresh, and there we go. Now it showed up. Okay. All right. So go now to the navigation partial. And all we need to do here where it says span within the navbar toggler, delete the class and simply put in 3 vertical lines within the span tags. go to the browser and refresh. That's all you need to do to get the vertical things. Maybe you thought it was some magic there, but nope. Just 3 vertical lines. There we go. Let me move this up for you so you see better. Okay, and here let's add some padding. So let's do padding dash bottom colon. Let's put a 0.6 rem, and let's just put in the exclamation mark important right away. Save it. Okay, and let's also put the outline to 0. Right? Now go to the browser and refresh. Remember, you need to have this kind of narrow in your browser so you emulate a mobile or small tablet. Alright, there we go. It looks a little better. Okay, let's actually go here now in the navigation partial. In the span tag here, we're going to create our own class. Let's call it toggler_styling. Right? Save that, and now go to the navigation.scss, and let's put in this class. So here type toggler_styling, curly brackets. And then what we do new first, we first go into style the font size. So let's do font dot dash size, and let's set that to 2 rem, and let's put in an exclamation mark important just for safety. And then let's put in the color of white, so color $! FF, and also important. Okay, although this is our own class, I still think for font styling we put important to override the bootstrap styling. Alright, go to the browser and refresh. Right, refreshing. There we go. Okay, cool. So I have a little more padding on top than on the bottom. If you're used to coding this, some people may think this is a fairly simple thing, but you know, CSS and HTML can be just as confusing as well if you're not used to it. So for the font size, go and set it to 1.5. I'm going to make it a little smaller. To the browser and refresh. There we go. Alright, so that looks cool. So it's not exactly round, a little squished. We just need to make it a little round. So I'm going to set the font size to 1.75. Okay, go to browser and refresh. Okay, good. I like that size of the font. We just need to put a little padding in the bottom here. So then in padding bottom here and put it to 0.7. Go to the browser and refresh. There. Oh, basically didn't see any difference. Set it to 0.9 here in the navigation.scss. Browser and refresh. That should do it, I think. Alright, it's a little slow today. There we go. Alright, it actually became slightly oval in a vertical way, but I actually like that. It's just such a tiny thing, but I do like it. Alright, let's scroll down. Actually, first, what I want to do. So, go to Views and Missions and open up the index.html. So the first what I like to do is actually not have the card title in bold font. So go to the application.scss and scroll down to the H4 tag and simply just comment out this font weight bold with 2 forward slashes. Save it and go to the browser and refresh. It just seems a little kind of too much, but that's just a styling preference. I think this looks way better, a little bit skinnier text. For some reason I just think it looks more clearer, but if you like to have it bold, please go ahead and do so. Alright, let's continue. So I'm going to close the navigation partial and navigation.scss and go to the style sheet and to the footer.scss and then go and open up the footer partial. So what we need to do now, we need to style the form, so we're going to get rid of that border. So here it says form border. So we're basically just going to set it to 0. So I copied it and I go to footer.scss, and somewhere here I type, or I paste it in the form dash border and put a dot in front of it to activate the class, and then put in curly brackets, and let's just say border colon 0 pixels solid. Okay, semicolon, and then save it. Go to the browser and refresh. Refreshing again. Alright, nothing happened. So I wonder if I have it, it should have worked. So let's just put important here, in case it's a bootstrap thing. But let's check if we already have defined the form border. Sometimes when you work through, you might forget that you have defined it. And sure enough, if I go to the application.scss, if you see it here, I'd already defined it. So go back to the footer.scss and simply delete the form dash border class. Alright? Now remember that you can actually, when you look for something, you can actually just, if you use Atom, you can just go to the find and then find in buffer and then type in the word to find it easier. Anyhow, so let's change that to 0 pixels and go to the browser and refresh. There we go. Alright, perfect. So now we don't have that border, we just have a gray background, and the form is just jet black in front, which looks really cool. Let's go to the footer.scss, and I'm cutting this out and I'm going to paste it in application.scss because these are more global classes, so I think it belongs here. So let's change for the submit buttons. Let's change the border to 0 as well, so I can copy what we did for the form dash border and paste it here below. Go to the browser and refresh, and there we go. Perfect. All right. Now let's narrow it again to a large phone or small tablet. So what we need to do now, we need to style for the phone sizes, as you know. So go to the style sheets, and we're going to create a new file, and we will call this media styling .scss. Okay, and for those who are not used to media styling, pay attention now. All right. So go back to the application.scss, and let's copy the input navigation, paste it below, and change the navigation to media styling. Right? So now we're going to use something called @media for styling for mobile friendly. So up here, type @media to call on the CSS procedure to use for the mobile friendly. Then do parenthesis. Within here we would say max dash width colon, and I will set this to 576 pixels. That's the maximum width of the device I want to have. Put in 2 curly brackets, and within here we will define our classes and our IDs for the mobile friendly device. So first let's do .float r curly brackets, and we simply would just say for this one, float colon left. Remember, float r is technically our right floating, but let's not change the class. Let's just make it float left instead. Go to the browser and refresh. I think we need an important. Yeah, nothing happened. So we need to go back, and we need to put exclamation mark important after this. So this is, as you know, when we're using one thing we can check first, actually, did we spell it correctly? It's always good to do media styling. Yes, we did spell it correctly. All right, so let's just do then exclamation mark important and save it, and go to the browser and refresh. Refreshing. There we go. All right. Now, it actually is not as extended as for the sign up for latest news. What we can do, let's try first. We can simply go here and float R and just say width to 100%. This is when we want to do a little CSS HTML logic. Browse and refresh. It's not going to work. There we go. It doesn't work. I just want to show you that you might start trying things like this. Okay, let's do add important. Refreshing. And that doesn't work either. So then you go like, what's wrong? It should have worked. So let's go to the footer.scss. Actually, let's go, the footer partial. All right, and let's take a look at things here. So within here, this div class, we have the form tag, and then we have the text field tag. So you might think, okay, here for the form control class within the text field tag, let's set that one to 100% of width. Okay, so let's go here in the media styling again. Let's define then the class form-control. We can copy this 100% of width and paste it in here. And then save it. Okay, so let's go to the browser and refresh. See if it extends all the way out. All right. Still nothing happened. Alright, so this can be a little frustrated. You kind of have to really just think of what's going on. Now I'm going to have to stop here and then I will continue in a little bit. Okay, so don't go away. I'll be right back. Alright, so I did not come right back. Now it's now about a month later and I have actually moved again. So anyway, let's continue with that problem about extending the form for the search form. Okay. So I am up and running. I have my server running, and let's check the browser. Okay, here I'm in the right directory. Let's go to the browser. Here we go. I'm going to refresh, and then we're going to scroll down. So remember, the form doesn't extend. Let's close this. The search form doesn't extend all the way out, just as the form does for the I lost my track of the newsletter. All right, so let's go and fix that. Okay, so the issue is that we could not use the text field. What we actually have to do, if you go to then where you are, we have to do within the form tag, and I will explain in a second. First, let's go and create our own class here, and let's call it full_width, and then curly bracket, and let's then do width : 100%. Okay, and then for the form tag here, put in a class. You have to have a comma, class : let's do full_width within single quotation and then a comma again. Remember, this is within the Ruby syntax. Go to the browser and refresh. All right, moment of truth here. Here we go. There we go. All right. So the reason for this is that the do loop here is surrounding the form tag within it, and that is the one. So yeah, the form tag label, that is where we needed to have the class for extending to a full width. We could not have do it within that do loop. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's do a few little things. This needs to be float to the left. So what we can do then, we can go and use that float R. All right, so we use the same properties for @media there, and then we simply go here for within the span tags here, create a class =, quotation marks, and put in that float R. All right, and save it, and let's go to the browser and refresh. We can address some colors and stuff later if we need it. Go and refresh. Good, so now I have float to the side, and let's narrow the window and check to the mobile friendly, and sure enough, now it's actually float to the left instead of the right. All right, so that works perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna let you fix the underline or the activate the social media links there. You can do it, I know you can. Okay, same as we did for the navigation bar. All right, so let's fix these little crammed up boxes here. So go and open up the index.html.erb, and here we have this card class. So we'll add a little margin at the bottom for in our media styling. So go to the media style.css, and here add a dot card and then curly brackets, and let's put in margin dash bottom colon 1 rem and then semicolon. And let's actually put an at important because this is a bootstrap property. So go to the browser and refresh. There we are. Now it has a little margin in the bottom there. Perfect. Alright. So that looks nice. And let's actually just style these two little buttons down there with some bootstrap btn buttons. Okay. So here again in the index.html.erb, after here link to, make a comma and then say class colon single quotation btn. Actually, let's do this btn dash outline dash info. We're not going to use it, but in case you wonder what it is about, it's always good to test when you don't know anything. Let's take a look at it. So it became that a black box around it, so we don't want that. So let's just do the btn dash info. And that's fine. Let's go to the browser and refresh. There we go. Let's put in a margin in the bottom there as well. But first let's copy this and let's put it into the link to new mission in the bottom there. No, in the next one. Save it. And let's go to the footer style sheet, and here in the top footer class, let's put in a margin dash top and set it to 1 rem. Go to the browser and refresh. There we go. Good. Now we have a little margins, little defined buttons, and all looks great. Let's open it up here, and that looks nice in the full width as well. Okay, let's click on all missions. Nice. Let's narrow this. Alright, so you can actually do as an exercise if you look on top here. So now you know what to do, so why don't you do as an exercise how to extend the search rockets form all the way across. Alright, okay, there is now time to do our git commit for these two sessions. So go to your terminal, and here let's type git status. Let's clear the window, and then we need to do git space add space dot, and here let's do git commit dash m and then single quotation, and then what did we do? We styled the navigations and footer, and then did a little bit of the boxes. Footer, comma, and a little of the card boxes. There we go. Let's call it that. All right. Okay, we are done. We're going to do git status again. There, just do up arrow. Actually, type git status. Too much stuff there. Oops. We are done here. I see you soon. Please like and subscribe. Take care. Bye-bye.
This is